Welcome to Unfiltered and Unstoppable with Romesburg. Real strategies for real advisors, a podcast that dives into what it takes to scale a thriving financial practice. Each week, we'll discuss actionable strategies, tools, and insights to keep you ahead in today's financial landscape. From innovative products and powerful marketing tactics, you'll get unfiltered truth and unstoppable strategies. Let's get started by building your unstoppable financial practice today.
All right. Welcome back to Unfiltered and Unstoppable. I am your host, Rob Romesburg, and today we are going to be going after a topic that can literally change the way that your practice feels, the way it grows, the way your calendar looks. And what we will be talking about specifically today is client segmentation. And what we mean by that is serving the right people the right way. And because here's the reality. The reality is that most successful advisors aren't overwhelmed because they have too many clients. They're overwhelmed and they struggle because they're serving every client exactly the same way. And what I mean by this is you're over serving the wrong households and you're underserving your best relationships. Your calendar looks jammed, but your growth feels flat, and you're just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm busier than ever, but my growth isn't representative of that." And somewhere deep down, and you're telling yourself, "I can't keep doing it this way. I I don't know how to change it. I I know maybe I could change it, but I'm worried about upsetting people." And this is really where client segmentation comes in. And I want to be clear. Segmentation is not about being cold. I'm not saying that. It's not about ranking people, not ranking human beings. It's about being clear, meaning being clear about who you're built to serve, who your firm is built to serve, aligning your time, your team's time, their efforts with the clients who need you most, but also at the same time support you most, and making sure that you're building a service model that's actually sustainable. And to help unpack all of this today, I've got a guy who has lived and breathed this almost his whole entire life at this scale. He's worked with hundreds of top advisors all across the country, helping them to grow smarter, not just bigger. He is our chief distribution officer, someone who I would consider a good friend, and definitely one of the sharpest strategic minds in the business, Mr. Brian Lucius. Brian, welcome to Unfiltered and Unstoppable, my friend.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for the kind words too. I should come on the
Actually,
show more often.
actually, I, I should say welcome back. It has been 1 year since we recorded
I
our
was
first episode.
wasn't I on the inaugural
You
podcast?
you were on the very first episode.
Okay.
Can you believe it's already 1 year?
No, that's what I was just thinking. It didn't seem like that long ago.
I mean, we're just rocking and rolling. Well,
I love
what?
it. I love this topic too. This is a
Oh
good one.
man, you know what? Why I love it is because it is quite frankly one of the most simple ideas, one of the most elementary ideas. However, it's also can be one of the most difficult as well. Like you could lose a weekend trying to segment your client base
For
if,
sure.
if you don't really understand what you're doing with it.
And there's a lot of people listening to it right now that just developed that pit in their stomach where they're like, "Oh no, I know I need to do this, but this is uncomfortable right
Uh,
now." So,
yeah, yeah,
which is great. They can listen to this, call you, walk through it, tell you all the reasons it's not going to work, and then they do it.
that's right. And also at the same time, there's that other end of the spectrum, the ones that almost had too simplistic of a view,
Yeah.
too elementary, and they're like A, B, 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 C, C, C. And
Yeah.
oh, that's it.
You
Well,
really
I
kind of
didn't
caused the
change
same
anything.
problem as
Yeah,
not doing it.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yep,
That's
yep,
exactly right.
yep. We've all been there and done this too. That's the good news.
That's right, man. And so, honestly, man, I'm really excited for this one. But before we get too tactical, let's really set the stage here. when you hear, Brian, when you hear the term client segmentation in plain English, what
Yep.
does that mean? And why does it matter so much specifically for the advisors that are actually serious about growth?
Yeah, I mean, initially, initially, I think it means what people spark initially. They think it's judgment, and we'll probably unpack that a little bit later. But that's not what it is. To me, it's a generally speaking. And again, there's going to be well, I have this client that doesn't fit this bucket, and let's address the 5 clients that don't fit this later. Let's address the 495 that do. It is that by segmenting your clients, and we'll talk about why it's not only based on dollar amounts, because that's not it, but the better clients, the better relationships you need, maybe financial, maybe referral driven, maybe complexity, whatever it may be, they require and need, or at least need to be offered, a different service level than perhaps what you need in a different clientele. Also, there's things you should be doing with those people, be it topics you need to be presenting on, bringing to them, that also don't affect that other. So it's not only treatment of people, and I don't mean treatment because we'll get to where you're still treating everybody the same
Mhm.
service level. And I think the education portion and the events and the people that are around is kind of section B as to why you do this.
And you hit the nail right on the head. Uh, se- Segmentation is not about the judgment; it's about the alignment. So
Correct. Yeah. Well said.
you're not rejecting people. You are protecting not only your capacity, your team's capacity, but also the capacity for those clients that are really needing that additional service. And I heard this a long time ago. If everyone, if every single one of your clients is an A client, then that means that means that nobody is.
Correct. Yeah, you cause the same problem. Yep.
Yeah. So if everyone's an A, then nobody's an A
And
because you're just killing yourself.
you are. And let's be honest with ourselves too. I mean, every day in the world, when you go out into the world and you choose a restaurant, you're going to pay for a different level of service and ambiance. And so it's the food could be the same at X as it is at Y, but Y is set up different, a higher service level, whatever it may be, bread at the table, bottled water. You think of those things, they come at a cost, and you choose those things. The same as if you take your car, if you have a Cadillac or a whatever, you go to a Cadillac dealership, you sit in their comfortable chairs, there's the coffee machine over there, or you go to the mechanic down the street, guy may have been fixing Cadillacs for 50 years. Your car leaves the same condition, you paid extra for that service level. So it's not a bad thing. People are used to service levels, and they may not always want the service level. Also, you could offer it to them and they say, no, thanks, I don't need it. So don't think you're the only one doing it, because you live in that world every day too.
Yeah. Such an important distinction because, and we kind of touched on this already, because I think a lot of people, when they hear segmentation right out of the gate, they go, man, I'm going to, I've worked with Betty for 20 years. I'm going to make her feel less important. But that's not what's happening here at all. This is actually how you make sure the right people get the right experience. And once again, your firm doesn't live in chaos, right? And
Correct.
and that's what we're going to unpack today. How to define the segments, how to design your service models around those segments, and how to actually have the courage to live it all out. So let's start with some of the biggest misconceptions out there, because I'm sure there's a lot of advisors out there right now thinking, I've heard this before, and I've tried the ABC clients on a spreadsheet. It didn't change anything. So from your perspective, what are the biggest mistakes an advisor makes when they first try to segment their clients?
I would say, number one is, what part of the reason you're feeling the way you're feeling, if you're listening to this and you have that pit in your stomach, I don't want to do this,
Mhm.
is that as you look back at your business, when you started your business in the first 5 years, you, I don't want to say begged, but I'm going to say it anyway. You begged them to become clients. You basically told them, here's my cell phone. If you need something at 3 a.m, like you even need a ride, I'll give you one. Like, you set your own bar, and we've all done it.
Yep.
And then 10 years later, you're like, man, this lady calls me at 3 a.m. when she needs a ride. What a pain. It's like, well, you set it up that way.
Yeah.
And so the reason I can say that is we've all done it. You've all done it. So you sit with this older, generation, people that helped you get where you're at, and you either don't want to change it on them, don't know how to change it on them, don't feel you should change it on, whatever it may be, but we've caused this problem ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest mistake in rating A, B, C, D, if that's, let's just stick with those today, is that you're doing it subjectively with no real value to what an A, B, C, D is.
Right.
So let's say you got 20 million bucks, you're an A, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have $200,000, but you've referred me 10 people, you're an A.
Yeah.
Or you don't have any money with me. You're not even a client of mine, but you work over at, XYZ Corporation. And so you could be my connection to some other executives over there. You're also an A.
Yeah.
So it's not, there's no rhyme or reason. You forget what your own coding is, and your A means 18 different things.
Right. Right. And what I love, what I heard about that is segmentation without behavior change, segmentation without clear definition is just a list.
Correct. Yeah.
Right?
And then you forget how you listed them.
Yeah. And so let's flip it for a second. When we have top advisors that do this really well, and it's a science for them, and this is how their business is run. What are the patterns that you see? What do they understand about segmentation from those that don't really get it?
Yeah, good question. I think there's two different. You can't just run on an A, B, C, D in my mind, because there's the A, B, C, D really equates to what do most people, Rob, affiliate A, B, C, D to? Which metric?
How much assets they have.
Assets. It's a number, right? And so that number doesn't change.
Right.
If you stick A, B, C, D as the number, let's say, just for ease of sake, A is 2 million and above, and D is 500,000 and below. So if I have $300,000, I'm a D. Okay. Doesn't sound good, but I am, right? And if I refer a bunch of people, or I work at ExxonMobil or whatever, do I automatically become an A? The answer is no. A is 2 million and above, just like we said it was. So it's really that other piece that the advisors do this the best. They don't change their metrics. They add another column over there that tells them what the person's relationship is to me versus how much money they have. Yeah. No matter what, on the flip side, low assets, high referability is a plus. What if they're high assets and they're just unbearable at client events? Yeah. They're always complaining, or they're the one that raises their hand and just asks the worst question ever every single time they take away from the event. Is that person not an A anymore?
Right.
No, they've got 2 million bucks. They're an A, but there's something else that should tell me that guy's not a good fit for the group.
Right. There are really three things that I have heard or discovered or learned over the years. First of all, your segments, so your client segments should tell your calendar where to go, not the other way around.
Agreed.
So your calendar is designed and controlled beyond or around your client segmentation. That's number one. Number two is elite advisors don't apologize for their standards. They communicate them with confidence. So it's not something to be shameful of. It's not something to hide from. You speak it with bravado and confidence of, this is who I am. This is my firm. This is how we operate. And guess what? Clear communication right out of the gate. That's all anybody wants.
Correct.
Help me understand how it works.
Yeah.
And let's say I am that D client. I probably know I'm a D client, and I have that 500,000. And you say, you know what? Look, Rob, I'm just going to be able to meet with you once a year until things change. And great. I trust you enough. I understand it. It makes sense. And then the third thing is, and I think this is really the key to all of this, is that segmentation is really about stewardship. I'm a big fan of that word. I love that word, stewardship. And what I mean by that is of your time, of your energy, and of your impact. Because if you personally aren't a good steward of those things, and guess what? You're not being a good steward to your clients.
Agreed.
So if all of that is out of control, you not only is your office in chaos, but then your relationship with your clients is in chaos, and that's not what we want. If you're trying to be everything to everyone that you've ever met, you're going to be average for everyone.
Correct. Yeah, you can't do it.
Instead,
And then you can't duplicate, you can't scale, you can't grow because there's only one you.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to do that.
And your goal is to be exceptional to the right people, right?
Yes. And I think too, be proud of your business and what you've built. If I go to a law firm and it's Romesburg and Ressler, and Associates, be scary, you and Chad being my attorneys, but it's Romesburg and Ressler. If I'm in a deep situation, and Romesburg and Ressler is the firm in Minneapolis to go to, I want Rob sitting next to me in that courtroom.
Yeah.
However, if I have a smaller issue, I don't want Rob. Give me one of your juniors. I want the power of Romesburg and Ressler, but I want the bill of the junior. I don't need Rob in on this one. It's a excessive speeding ticket or something that I got. So you should be proud that any client that comes to your firm has the power, the service, the planning, the product placement, the solutions. Really what matters is the retirement plan you set up for them, and your juniors can do just as good a job or close to just as good a job for the majority of people. They're looking for the power of your firm, no matter how it gets done.
Yeah, right.
That's why, like, you go to Gordon Ramsay restaurant, is he cooking for you back there?
Right.
No, but you're damn glad that his logo's on the door.
That's right. Yeah, you're exactly right. So and I know you were doing a great job with the framework earlier. Let's go back to it and let's narrow it down a little bit more of what a framework would look like for that retirement focused advisor. So,
specifically.
Yeah.
I'll give you a couple examples too. So if you have A, B, C, D, all right, let's just keep running on that scale there.
Yeah.
Next to it, you generally have something else. And one of my favorites that I've seen, and one of the ones that we use most frequently, is plus, neutral, minus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So plus, what that is it's the attitude towards your firm that you're measuring. Okay. So let's take that lady who has $200,000 but refers everybody. She's a D. She's a D plus. Loves me. Couldn't be any better.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take that A guy who is, high dollar with me. He's got $3 million with me, but he is a challenge at my events. And I think he likes me, but he doesn't have the best attitude towards me. Right. But he's my problem. I get along fine with him, but he's unbearable to my staff. He's an A minus, right? I just can't make him happy. So if that guy were an A plus, that's fine. Or A neutral it's a good client. I don't get referrals from them, but they're decent people. None of the ratings are a problem. Your goal is to try and move them attitudinally, if that's a word, up from negative to neutral to plus, but I can't always do that. So we were at an event in Chicago, in a client event, and this guy did the thing where he raised his hand and asked some question about America going to hell and the gold dollar. It was whatever, like somewhere everyone's like, the hell, I'm trying to enjoy my chicken over here.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And he came up to the advisor after and he goes, I'm sorry about that. I don't even know why I come to these things. I can't control myself. Like the guy was calling himself out. And Rob was like, yeah, I get it. I get it. So how do you treat that guy different, right? You call the guy after and you say, look, Ray, you came up to me and said that. I appreciate you bringing it up. Or even if I have to address it with him, I got to address it. Ray, you're picking bad times to do this stuff. Like I got a lot of people in there and Ray's, okay, I know I shouldn't have done that. So how about this, Ray? Instead of the client event, which you said you don't love anyway, what if I take you to dinner every holiday? Again, let's just address the 10 people that need special treatment different. The 495 will fall in.
Yeah.
So you do something different for that person. You know not to invite an A minus to that event. Now, flip side, you got Nancy and she's my D plus. Yeah. Should Nancy be at my client event if I only invite A's and B's? Well, if I rank them the messed up way of subjective A's and B's, she'll get there because I ranked her an A. Right. But I can invite A's, B's, anybody who is neutral or plus, and C's, D's, anybody who's a plus. So I want her there because she hasn't maybe brought me the revenue from her assets, but she's brought me them elsewhere. So I'm treating her different, recognizing her, but I haven't messed up who she is and what her relationship is to my firm, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You go back to, that's kind of the client appreciation event side of it. Also, we talked a little bit about not only we'll go to service and also the education portion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take the education portion of it first. Let's say I'm going to do an enhanced planning workshop and I'm going to have my estate planning attorney come in and talk, right? And I'm going to do it nice and try and get the ones who really need estate planning help in there. Who am I going to invite?
Right.
I'm going to invite go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I would say I'm going to invite my A's, my B's, and depending upon where that dollar value is, does a $300,000 person need estate planning? Absolutely they do, but it's a different level and a different complexity discussion that I'm going to have over with the higher net worth than I am with the lower. It's not a bad thing. It's just a fact, right? And I don't know if you want to address service levels at all.
Yeah. So I think that's a big one, the service level of it. I think that's the most that can be, if you allow it and you don't do a good job of it and your firm's not disciplined, that's where the overwhelming aspect can come in, right?
You're right. And that's where, that's where your earlier on clients that you begged and, we're going to meet weekly.
Right.
Or you're going to meet weekly because I got nothing else to do and you're my client and I can't lose you.
Yeah, right.
But, an A client and again, you can treat these different of an A being the dollar value, but generally speaking on the dollar value, your job is dollars. They hired you to deal with dollars. The personal relationship, the trust, all that stuff is the reasons they hired you. But let's not forget, you do a bad job with the dollars, the rest of that stuff starts to not matter. So you do have to provide you are the name on the door.
Yeah.
For the higher level, more complex situations, you have to provide, it's you who meets with them quarterly or biannually or annually or whatever you set up. B's you can start to address as to who meets with them. Mm-hmm. C's becomes kind of your team that meets with them, right? And you still acknowledge them when they're in the office. You know that it's annual review day and you're walking around to spend the day doing it and they're meeting with Jimmy and you're coming in saying, hey, Bill and Mary, nice to see you. Got you meeting with Jimmy. I tell you what, Jimmy's probably better at stuff than I am anyway. Great to see you. Have a good day. So again, back to that name on the door, they're still at the power of your firm. They're just meeting with somebody else. And honestly, if you do it long enough, they're probably enjoying sitting with Jimmy even more than you anyway. Jimmy's excited as hell across the table. You've done this a million times.
Yeah.
You get down to the D's and you start to offer, not that you don't offer annual reviews necessarily, but they come with the team, or you start to offer virtual or email reviews type of things. Mm-hmm. Because there really isn't, if you get bored of reviewing the stuff, think of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they come in every year because you tell them to think you got some news for them.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, this account's fine. This account's fine. They're like, great. Glad I drove 25 minutes across traffic to get here.
Right.
So your service levels could reflect that. Now, you might offer an A client quarterly, and he might look at you and say, Rob, I love you to death, but I'm not coming in here freaking quarterly.
Yeah,
call me if there's a problem, or we'll see you once a year.
Yeah.
No problem. But the offering the service level and maintaining the service levels are what is key, driven by the actual definitions of who a client is and what the relationship is to you.
What I heard from that is that the goal isn't the perfect model. It's a useful one.
Correct.
It's one that's clear and easy, not only for me to follow, but for my team and my firm to follow. And the thing is that what everyone else needs to hear is that you don't need a 17 segment model with fancy names and color codes and it looks like a rainbow Excel spreadsheet. That's not what we're saying. You need a clear model to very clearly show who you're built to serve at the highest level, who you want to focus on truly growing for the future, and who might need a different path or a different setup.
Yeah. And I think that in a different path or different setup is a fair thing too. Yeah. Everybody's got that client that calls all the time. Mm-hmm. And, it's every month, and whether they're low asset or, if they're high enough asset, you can deal with it.
Yeah. Right.
At some point, no matter their assets, you're like, this person, man, mm-hmm. Everything's a problem. They're driving my staff nuts. At some point, tell them,
all right,
Bill, I apparently cannot offer the level of service that you want. I suggest you go find it elsewhere. And you can say it more graceful than that, but I'm not going to do what you want me to do. It's a free world. well, are you firing me? If that's what you want to call it, but this isn't your home anymore, right? So it's okay to do that.
And you and your firm, the whole team needs to be able to immediately recognize the name and instantly know this is how we serve Jim and Mary.
Right. Right.
And they need to have the rules need to be very clear. And when those rules are in place, by the way, and you and your firm and your clients understand it, your guilt goes down, quality goes up. And that's the big point to all of this is making sure that the guilt goes down because you and I both have seen advisors who feel guilty if they're not doing everything for everyone.
Yeah. And those are the ones that get stuck.
Yeah.
You can't, you either can't get out of it. Well, actually you can, you're unwilling to get out of it. And so you have to keep in mind that back to the start of why they came in is you did a great seminar. They enjoyed it. They loved it. They came in. You had their sign on the door, sign on the desk when they came in. They got the same cookies as Jimmy with 4 million over here.
Yeah.
They got the same drink menu. They came in. They got the same damn reports. They got the same planning philosophy from you or your junior advisor. They got the same compass. It had one less comma in it or whatever, but same thing. So you've done the same planning and same amazing things you did for the $4 million person as you did for the 400,000. It's just the follow-up after that is different because they're different people. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. So let's get into the hard part. So let's say I've been in the business 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever the number is. I've got an established practice, but I'm the advisor that's overwhelmed. And the hard part, so everything we've talked about, it sounds great on paper, right?
Yeah. Sounds great in the locker room, but
Yeah.
I got to go hit the ice.
Yeah, exactly. And so that advisor is now thinking, okay, how do I actually tell my clients this? What if they feel downgraded or, man, maybe I might even need to transition or fire a client, which, by the way, is a wonderful thing. We need to make that very clear. And I know you've helped a lot of advisors navigate this. How do we communicate those service models now? And how do we make those tough decisions?
Yeah. I mean, I think it starts by first this is going to sound daunting, but you got to go back and figure out who you got.
Right.
And, I caution using Excel spreadsheets as your CRM until all your CRM, whatever you use, should have the segmentation built in so you can pull
100%.
reports.
Yeah.
But I've started more spreadsheets with good intention and they sit on my desktop, which I shouldn't do either, but you just don't use them. So you got to get it coded and you got to go back through and code them. And again, coding the ABCD part, super easy, right? It's a number value, code them. Then your plus, neutral, minus, you'll know if they're a minus right away. You're like, oh, that dude, right? So that's a minus. Your pluses right away too. And if you're looking at one name and you're like, I'm not really sure, neutral, right? Like, I don't know. Let's figure out next time who they are. So you're constantly updating that. Now, on let's say your D's and you've got yourself in the situation where you've self-trained those early clients, which you have, to every single time you call, every single time you do it, you need to have the discussion with them of, I've reached a point in my business where I want to be able to offer the same level of service to you, but I'm not always the guy that's going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
As my practice grows, which because I've helped more people like you, my time is pulled in different directions, but I don't want to lose your ability to, enjoy your retirement and use us as your retirement planning resource. So I need to introduce you to some other people who you're going to hear a lot more from.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And maybe that's Jimmy Junior Advisor, or Susie is going to handle any distribution requests you got or whatever it is. And you just introduce them on the annual reviews and then have them start working with the person. I would bet that 90% of people would say, totally understand that. No problem. In fact, really going to you to get a distribution form is a pain in their butts too, because you don't know where it is. You got to go to Susie who gets it to me anyway. So I want to go straight to Susie. So that discussion also, like when you go to do that, you're going to screw the first 5 of them up. It's not going to come out right. You're going to say, you're going to have the best intentions and be like, I'm not going to work with you as much. Oops. So you got to just do it and rip the Band-Aid off. And for the ones that say, no, I don't understand why. I always want to talk to you. You just have to have the discussion of, okay, then we need to have a real discussion here, because I'm going to become unable to return your phone calls at the speed that I used to return them,
Right.
or your emails where I return them. And what I don't want is you upset with me because I can't personally provide the same level of service to you that I used to.
Yeah.
So we got to figure out a path to move forward. Either you're okay with me calling you back 2 days later or whenever I get to it, or my staff helps out and that I'm behind them 100%.
That's
What's your
exactly
choice?
right. That's exactly right. So you continue to touch on team there, which is what this is really all about as well. Because first of all, if you tiptoe around this whole segmentation deal and this service model we're talking about, guess what? Your team is going to tiptoe around it as well. It-
Correct.
and they're not going to respect it, which means is your calendar's probably going to be even more screwed up.
Correct.
And so if we can understand that the biggest benefit of the segmentation is that your team finally has a playbook, that's huge. And
Correct.
you touched on all of it, on why it's important for us to have a real operational reality in this, because it's going to give your team permission to lead, which is what you want. You want them to take the email and own it, not just forward it. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
want them to stop guessing and start owning and taking all of it on themselves. That's what's going to free up your calendar.
Agreed.
And unfortunately, for some of us control freaks like myself,
Myself included.
that might be the hardest piece to all of this, is you giving that up and saying, you know what, I actually trust Jimmy and Susie to handle it. And then now at the same time, you and I have met dozens of advisors who know that deep down there are probably 20, 30, 50 households that they shouldn't be serving anymore.
For sure.
Meaning, I'm probably not doing a good service for them because, quite frankly, I know he's a jerk. And let's just make it easier for everyone, and let's get rid of the guy.
Yeah. I saw there was a thing on a meme the other day that said country clubs should get their staff together once a year and vote on which member is going to get canned. I actually thought that was a great thing for financial advisors offices to get together, and there will be one person where they're like, Frank, that's Frank, and stand behind your staff on that. If the guy's abusive, you don't want to deal with him, so you let your staff deal with him. That's not good. It's your job to address that problem. And this maybe isn't the show to get into staff and team, but we've used that term a lot. This is the reason you have people, is to help you grow, help you do it. And for you to not give them opportunities to grow and opportunities to do these things, you're the one holding them back. They're not being challenged. They're not growing. And if your business doesn't grow, their jobs never change.
Yeah.
So you get what's my career path if I'm just the only support person in this company? Your career path is help me get bigger, and you'll manage the person doing your job next.
That's exactly right. So all of this is not just about defense, and it's also not just about the growth for your clients, but you just hit the nail on the head. It's about the growth for the individuals within your firm as well.
Right.
It's giving them offensive weapons. It helps them as well recognize what relationships needs to have that time allocated and which ones need to have the best experiences. That is exactly what creates more capacity for growth. That segmentation is what's going to allow for the faster and healthier growth for the firm overall. And that's the cool part of it.
I agree. And that's if you look at it as, well, I'm just dumping more work on my people and I'm afraid they're going to quit. Your people are going to quit from not being challenged.
Mhm.
The ones that are going to quit because they have to do work, that's the relationship we have.
Yeah.
I pay the check, you do the work. And if any time we don't like this relationship, you're gone.
Yeah.
But they want to feel more important. Think how good, your support staff would feel if they did help Bill and Mary, who are out of town and need a distribution, and they can execute and get it done. They're thanked. Or Jimmy, who's finally waiting to meet with somebody without you sitting there overriding his discussion. He's meeting with people, they're feeling good, and he uncovers another chunk of money or whatever it is. Let them be successful. They will take the hill with you if you give them the opportunity to do it and you have the right people, and you'll figure that out when you go to give them responsibility and in ways to grow. If they embrace it, you got the right people. If they're like, that's not my job description, well, we know what you got there.
Yeah. And this is a topic for another
Okay.
time, but it's kind of relatable as well. You and I have been doing this long enough to where we've seen a number of advisors that have said, you know what, I'm going to ride off in the sunset and I'm going to sell my business. The advisor that has their business really segmented, meaning they actually have a real understanding of who is who, that segmented business is significantly more profitable, more sellable, and more sustainable than those others that aren't.
Way more. Yeah, you're the amount of revenue you bring in, although people say, oh, it's 3 times, 2 times, whatever, that's crap. There's a whole other set of factors that up the multiple of a business. That being one of them is who's in your book and how does this machine operate. That is probably a bigger factor than how much revenue you got coming in.
So what I'm going to say here is the reason why you segment your business is not just for more revenue. It's also about more control, more clarity, and the more specific part to all of this is more enjoyment in the business.
Agreed. 100% agree.
You and I have talked many a times, and we've seen several advisors that have just been crushing it year after year after year and tremendous success. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they're like, "This is boring."
Right.
They don't feel the challenge anymore, and they don't. Now, with that individual that has their business really segmented in the understanding of it, I don't hear that from those individuals.
And to me, that's because it allows you to choose. A free calendar doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily golf. It
Right.
means I'm going to do the things I want to do and enjoy. When I hear people say they're burnt out or whatever, to me that's self-inflicted.
Yes.
You're burnt out because you never made the changes necessary for you to do things that excited you. You just kept doing the same thing over and over again till you couldn't stand it. Well, don't be so hard on yourself. You put yourself in the situation. So
right.
I'm not saying this stuff is easy. It involves hiring people and coding and things and taking a step back. And I'm already so busy. None of it's easy.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing the baby steps, you're going to get bored. You're going to get burnt out. You're going to do it. But I got news for you. You're the business owner.
That's right.
Which is a great thing when you do it right. But if all you're going to do is own your own job, it's going to get monotonous.
Yeah. All right. But before we wrap up here, I can't believe how time flies. What I like to do is I like to leave every advisor listening with a challenge, and not just a theory, because we can all talk about theories, not just an idea, but a real clear 30-day actionable step. So here it is. So in the next 30 days, if you're an advisor listening right now, I want you to put together what we might call a mini segmentation reset. So 3 steps. Number 1, print your client list. Pull it up on your screen, however you need to do it. You're going to tag 3 things for each of the households. First of all, revenue or potential. Secondly, do they fit within your ideal client profile? An energy score. Do they drain you or do they energize you? So you're going to have these 3 buckets now. 3 buckets. Core ideal, the ones that you would clone if you could. Like, I wish I had 100 of these people. Number 2, emerging, not quite ideal yet, but definitely strong potential. And then the third one would be legacy or transactional. These individuals, they might need a different model or a solution, or maybe we need to transition them on. And you're going to have to ask yourself that hard question at that point in time. If I design my service model from scratch today, would I serve these 3 groups the same way that I am right now? And if that answer is no, that's your roadmap right there. That's your roadmap. And to be clear, you don't have to fix it all in 30 days.
No.
But you got to start. You got to start from somewhere. And from there, you're going to pick one change. So a new service calendar, a new communication rhythm from your firm to them, or let's find a way to gently transition those misfit relationships. Guess what? Your firm, your staff's going to love that. Promise. One step in 30 days. That's the challenge. Don't overhaul everything. That'll just kill you. Don't do that. But you do definitely need to start telling yourself the truth about your book and your clients. Um, a line I heard a long time ago is that clarity is the first step to capacity. Do it. Do it.
I like that.
Brian, man, this has been awesome.
Hey, I've always been fun. Can I come on here more than once a year now? Or
Let's
what?
go. Let's go. Give us some last thoughts before I wrap it up.
I think, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. This isn't a religious conversion we got to do overnight here. It's just something you have to be willing to do. And again, if you portray this to your staff the right way, you have their backs, you're giving them more opportunity, you're painting the picture for the growth of the firm. This is what excites people. This is what builds culture. This is what makes you have fun, them have fun. You have a totally different energized office when everybody's firing like this and enjoying the direction that they're going instead of the same stuff we've done for 3 years. So the new year's coming up. This gives you a perfect picture to paint for everybody. And let's kick this in the butt and go next year. Here's one of our big initiatives. Watch everybody rally behind it and get excited and have fun in this business. As you know, Rob, it's the best damn business in the world.
Amen, brother. Amen. So if you're listening right now and you're like, I really want to do this. I am committed. I need to restart, whatever the case may be. I did put together a resource to help you take advantage of this, to take the next step. Just called it the Client Segmentation Blueprint. Really simple one-page guide that's going to walk you through not only how to define your ideal client, but how to create simple, usable segments and how to begin aligning your service model with your best relationships. So head out to the site. You can grab it at evolvewithgradient.com/ace team. Evolvewithgradient.com/ace team. And I've got one small ask. If you found any value from this conversation, that sparked any ideas, if it challenged how you look at your book, I would greatly appreciate it if you like, follow, share this episode with your team, another advisor that you know of, because they're the ones that's really going to live this all out for you within your team, within your firm. And before I close, I would want to speak to all of the advisors listening right now. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the way that you show up for families each and every single day. Thank you for the late nights. Thank you for the early mornings. Thank you for the review meetings, as boring as those may be. Thank you for the plan updates and the conversations that nobody else has. Keep in mind, you're not just managing money, right? You are giving people clarity in the confusion that we might all be experiencing right now, giving us all confidence and uncertainty, and you are the piece in the middle of the noise. So that all matters deeply. Once again, this has been Unfiltered and Unstoppable. I'm Rob Romesburg with my guest Brian Lucius. Thank you for all that you do. Thanks
Thanks, guys.